Well, we are back. We've just got through doing the sharp side of the circle of fifths. So you need to pull this right back out. And of course, keep that major scale formula handy throughout these exercises. But by now, you should have this memorized. So let's try it. Whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Basically, two tetrachords of whole step, half step, bridged by a whole step, or put together by a whole step. And that's what we have, our major scale formula. And again, that is an absolute. So we just got through working on the sharps from C to G, D, A, E, B, F sharp, and C sharp. So that is the right side of our circle of fifths. Now we're going to work on the left side of the circle of fifths. We're going to use our trusty key C major. Now remember, I told you that tetrachords, or any chord, any scale rather, can go upwards and downwards. For us to configure the flat side, we need to reverse the tetrachord pattern. So we'll start from C and go down. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. So we start from the key note of the scale that we're in. In this case, we're going to go right back to C major. Notice C major is in the middle and the top scale that bridges the sharps, and now we're going to work on the flats. This is again called the circle of fifths. So we need to go downward 5 steps, or to the first note of the second tetrachord, in this case descending. So this is C, B, A, G, F. All right? And you notice on your circle of fifths, there is the F. So counting 5 steps backwards from C, C, B, A, G, F. And therefore, we're going to build our first scale, our flat side, on this note. All right? So when we're building the scale, we're going to build the scale ascending. But when we're finding the next scale, we're going to do it descending. So, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. All right? The first scale is always the one that's going to start all our alterations. So obviously, somebody's going to get altered here. So let's look at it by virtue of the formula. From E to F, from F to G, good girl. F to G is a whole step. From G to A is a whole step. From A to B, however, is also a whole step. And remember, our formula requires a half step here. So we need to make that adjustment real quick. And since the second note has to be made the adjustment, we were raising it for the sharps. So of course, we're going to lower it for the flats. That's what's going to make our half step. So again, from F to G is a whole step, from G to A is a whole step, and from A to B flat is our half step. A to B flat is that half step. All right? Believe it or not, that adjustment made this a whole step automatically. Because when we lowered this a half step, originally this would have been a half step interval. When we lowered this a half step, that widened the interval and made this a whole step. All right, so from C in the second tetrachord of a major scale, once we begin to build the major scales, it's going to automatically be correct. So whereas in our sharps, as we were building scales, the first tetrachord was correct. When we're building scales in the flats, because we're building everything starting backwards and then forwards, the second tetrachord is going to be correct. All right? So here we are. This is now our F major scale. Since that note's adjusted, we'll put the flat right there. If you notice in your circle of fifths, the F has a flat in the staff. And therefore, it tells us that we are now in the key of F major. All right? Remember, everything is descending when we find the next key. So 5 steps down. We're going to start from here since we're going to just descend it. 1, 2, 3, 4. The first note of our descending tetrachord is our next key, B flat. If you notice, that is the next key here. I know some of you are already thinking, couldn't we have just counted 4? 1, 2, 3, 4, and just been on the fourth note of our second tetrachord, of our first tetrachord? Sure, both works. All right, so let's build now a B flat major scale. And we'll make B flat a ledger line. All right. As we said, the second tetrachord pattern, when we're descending for our flats, will be correct. You don't need to do anything to it. This is the one that's going to be your change here. So, from B flat to C, that's a whole step. But from C to D, yep, that's a whole step. But from D to E is not a half step, as our formula dictates. We need to make it a half step. So E needs to get flattened in order to narrow down that interval. That, of course, widens this interval, making it a whole step that we require. From F to G, yes. From G to A, yes. From A to B flat, definitely, because we've already determined, remember in our F major scale, this tetrachord is F, G, A, B in our F major scale. So therefore, this tetrachord is going to be correct. It's now going to be this one that we have to deal with, and we just did. We've altered the E flat, and then E flat goes right there. All right? Well, you pretty much may have guessed the pattern. Your altered note is also now your new key. How do I know? 1, 2, 3, 4. First note of the second tetrachord sequence. Fifth note of a sequence descending, or the fourth note of the descent of the ascending scale. However way you want to do it is up to you. All 3 are correct and are absolute. So if you're descending tetrachord, the first tetrachord, second tetrachord is your descending tetrachord. First note of the descending tetrachord is your key. If you're going to stay in the ascending pattern, it is now the fourth note of the key. Or the key, or the note that just got altered. And that's your key. By the way, this is the key of B major, B flat major. So now, we're going to build on E flat. That's our next key. Do you see that in the circle of fifths? E flat, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E flat. Fill in the blanks. In other words, make this a major scale. You got it? We know that the second tetrachord pattern is correct. We just built that on the B flat. So this is correct. Whole step, half step. That's correct. This is the one we're going to have problems with, right? E flat to F, we know that's a whole step. F to G, We know that's a whole step. But from G to A is also a whole step. Thus disturbs our pattern. So therefore we need to now alter this one. And that makes it the half step. Since it's altered, we put its note here. We're going to start going downward. Again, we don't want to get too high in the ledger lines here. This is, of course, an absolute. So here we are. This is now our E flat major scale. And this is the key of E flat. All right? Of course, you see that over there on the circle of fifths. The next key, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps down, or 4 steps up, or the last note that was altered, A flat. So now, build for me an A flat major scale, and then subsequently give me its key signature. Go. All right, let me start while you're finishing. Oh, let's bring it up here. All right? Remember, your second tetrachord is going to be right. That's why we got the exclamation point. Tells us yas. So the second tetrachord is going to be right when we're working on the flats as we're descending. It's the first tetrachord that had to be altered. So we had to alter this nice little D flat. And there it is. D flat now becomes our next key, since it was the last tone altered going flat. It is also the fifth scale degree, the first scale degree of our second tetrachord, 1, 2, 3, 4, or our fifth scale degree of the scale that we are on, or if you want to, the fourth scale degree upward. All right? Okay, I'll slow that down. First scale degree of the second tetrachord going downward. Fifth scale degree downward of the key that we are in. Fourth scale degree upward of the key that we are in, or the last altered note of the key that we are now in. So, look at your circle of fifths. That should tell you a D flat. All right. You know what to do by now, so do that on D flat. And I'll give you a minute. Go. Is that what you got? Remember your second tetrachord pattern for the flats is going to be correct because that was our tetrachord pattern first that we altered. The reverse is the same for the sharps. We had to alter the first tetrachord pattern in order for it to be correct. We had to alter the second tetrachord pattern, forgive me, in order to be correct, and it becomes the first tetrachord pattern that is correct. So the tetrachord pattern that has to be corrected is the tetrachord pattern that will be correct in your next key. That kind of helps you too for both of them. So again, for the sharps, we had to adjust the 7th degree of the scale or the next to last degree of the tetrachord pattern and raise it. That becomes therefore the first tetrachord of the next key and therefore does not need to be altered. For the flats, we had to adjust the last scale degree, the fourth scale degree rather, of the tetrachord pattern, or the last degree of the tetrachord pattern itself. And therefore it becomes the next pattern for the second tetrachord in the next key, and therefore would be correct. So this is a whole step. Yep, that's a whole step. That is our half step. The alteration made this a whole step. That's a whole step. That's a whole step. Its alteration makes that a half step. And we're in D flat major. So, now what's the next thing to do? The first degree of a descending tetrachord pattern, the 5th degree descending of the scale, the 4th degree ascending of the scale, or the last note that was altered. So we're now in G flat. Check your circle of fifths. There it is, G flat. All right? Have a crack at it. Is that what you got? All right. The alternate note will be the 4th note in this scale. In order to make this our half step, because from B flat to C flat, and C flat enharmonically is B, so therefore that is a half step. And therefore that widens that and makes it a whole step. Second tetrachord is correct because it was correct at the last key. Boom. All right. We got one more. You pretty much know how I knew that one. It was the last note altered, the 4th note of the ascending scale, the 5th note of a descending scale, 1st note of the second tetrachord descending. All right. We're in C flat major. You got this one, right? I don't even have to wait on you. Everybody gets a flat, including now the new altered note. And it goes downward in this case, because that's how we have constructed it based on history. There is our C flat scale. All right? And we're done. There are 15 specific key signatures for the major scales. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then we have 3 of them here that are called enharmonic. So if you look at your circle of fifths, you will notice that the sharp scales of the sharp keys of B, F sharp, and D flat are enharmonic to C sharp. Notice all of the flats here, convert them to sharps, and that makes it enharmonic. To F sharp to G flat, look at all the sharps here in F sharp, convert them to flats, and we have G flat. And of course, B to C sharp to C flat. You notice all the sharps here, convert them to flats. So the bottom 3 keys of our circle of fifths are enharmonic to one another. D flat is enharmonic to C sharp, D flat. F sharp is enharmonic to G flat, F sharp, G flat. They're the same key as well as the same note, by the way. B is enharmonic to C flat. That gives us 15 keys. That gives us a total of 7 sharps and 7 flats, 7 sharp keys and 7 flat keys, with of course C having no sharps and no flats. That's how our circle of fifths is constructed, and that's how you know your sharps and your flats in the circle of fifths. You also know, of course, how to build your own major scale in order to make this all complete. All right? Now, people love shortcuts in life, and I gave you a few in regards to constructing your sharps and flats, telling you that, oh, the 7th degree is raised, or in this case, the 4th degree would be lowered. And that's what built your sharps and flats. Here's a few other things to consider to make things easy. A lot of people memorize this circle of fifths, and that's a good practice to do. And that's what I did when I was in school as well. When you're looking at the sharps and the flats, the key signature itself, let me get off this small graphic and just put it up here. And you can look at it on your graphic. All right? That's F sharp. That's the first sharp of our key, G. So of course I know I'm in G major. And this is how I know I am in G major just looking. I look at the sharp. And this is F sharp. But I'm just going to look at where the sharp is placed. Just going to look at the letter itself. So for sharps, I'm going to go 1 letter up. So to determine by sight the sharp key, look at the last sharp placed right here, and go up 1 letter. Don't worry about the sharp itself, F sharp. F is the letter where it's placed, so therefore I am in G major. F, so I go up 1 letter, G. That's how I find out that I am in the sharp keys. So determine by sight the sharp keys, look at the last sharp placed, and go up 1 letter. All right? So let's pick out a key. Oh, let's pick out A. So we know that the sharps on A, you notice where the sharps are? The sharps on A are on C and G. The last sharp is a G. So therefore I go up 1 letter, and now I know by sight of looking at this, I am in A major. So I go to the last sharp placed and go up 1 letter, and that tells me what key I am. Let's look at another one. Well, let's look at F sharp. The last sharp placed would be what? E, right? The last sharp placed in the key of F sharp. Look at your scale. Look at your score there. I mean, not your score, but your graph there. The last sharp placed in the key of F sharp is E. I go up one letter, but in this case, F has an accidental attached to it. So I need to give it its full key. So I don't call it F, I call it F sharp. So therefore, F sharp is the key, all right? So to determine by sight the sharp keys, look at the last sharp placed and go up one letter. Now let's look at the flat keys. I'm going to keep that rule up there for your writing. Oh, let's see. We just have to know by circular fifths, going down 5 degrees is the next key, F. From F we have B flat. All right? We know that for the key of F, we have B flat. That was the altered pitch for F. So when we did our tetrachords, we altered the 4th scale degree, and therefore that was our B flat. F, G, A, B made it flat in order for us to have that perfect major scale formula. So we did that in order to determine F. We have B flat. We know in order to get the key of B flat, we had to lower the 4th scale degree, B, C, D, E. And therefore that gave us our E flat. But another way to know this visually by sight, to determine by sight the flat keys, for that one, look at the penultimate or the next to the last flat. That flat is the key. The next to the last flat in this key signature is a B flat, and therefore B flat is our key. All right? Next one is an A. So the next to the last flat is an E flat, so therefore this is the key of E flat. So look at the next to the last or the penultimate flat, and therefore that flat is your key. You don't have to think another letter up or down. Don't. Just look at where that last next to last flat is, and that next to last flat is your key. So the next to last flat here is E flat. I don't have to think of nothing else. That is my key. I am in the key of now E flat major. E flat major has 3 flats, as my circle of fifths has stated. So this is the shortcut to look at things on sight. Let me sit down for a second as I read this. To determine by sight your sharp key, look at the last sharp placed and then go up one letter. If going up one letter has an accidental on it, then you must include the accidental with that key. And in the sharps, that only affects F sharp and G sharp. To determine by sight your flat key, look at the next to the last flat. That specific next to the last flat is the key. So for example, you notice by the example I just drew on the board, the next to the last flat is an E flat, and therefore I am in the key of E flat. And by the way, for the exception of F, all of the keys has the word flat on the flat side. All right? So that's how you determine your keys by sight. The way we were building the tetrachords should show you how to start memorizing this in itself. I just showed you how to do it by sight, just by looking at the key signature. And all you gotta do is keep going up by 5. But what some people do is they say that this is a bead, B-E-A-D, G-C-G. I know how people do that, or another bead here, or whatever, spelling out the word bead in order to get your sharps and your flats. I would prefer that you memorize simply by knowing 5 steps upward are your sharps, 5 steps backwards are your flats. And how do we know the placement of the sharps? For the sharps, it is the 7th degree that was altered. So for example, in the key of G, F sharp is the 7th degree of the key of the scale of G, and therefore that 7th degree was altered, and that's where your flat goes. So let's start from C, 5 steps up, C, D, E, F, G, 5, all right? Then I know that in the key of in the key of G, F is my next to last scale degree, and that's going to be altered, F sharp. So now I'm in the key of G, G, A, B, C, D. C is going to be my altered scale degree, so C sharp is where I'm going to place it. That's how I do my sharps. For my flats, my 4th scale degree is going to be placed. So I go downwards on my circle of fifths, or upwards, depending upon my mood. So I'm going to do from C, going down from C is F, which is the 5th scale degree, or the 4th scale degree going upward. So from F, I know the 4th scale degree is going to be the altered tone, F, G, A, B. So therefore, my flat's going to go on B. Now, B flat now becomes my key. That's my next key in my flats. So B flat, I'm going to come down or go up, come down 4 or go up 4. B, E, A, D, B, C, D, E. E flat's my next, E flat's my next key, right? E flat's my next key because that was the note that is altered. And therefore I build from that point on. So going down to the flats, go to the 4th scale degree, which in this case is E flat, build my scale. The 4th scale degree of my new key, E flat, F, G, now becomes A flat. And A flat is now placed on my staff as the next flat. That also now becomes my new key. So A flat has now become my new key. Go up 4, A, B, C, D. D flat has now become my new key. Go 4, D, E, F, G flat, and so on. And therefore, the next key will be C flat. All right? So you now have your circle of fifths. You now know how to build your major scale formula. Now, because this is an online-only course, normally I would have people construct for me the circle of fifths. I want you to do that by yourself without having any cheat reference. See how well you can fill out a circle of fifths without cheating. All right? Now, this video will probably go on, but I just realized I may be using the same video for both the online course and for the blended course. So for the blended course, I will at some point give you a sheet of paper, which is the circle of fifths, and have you fill it in. But for the online people, and you're strictly online, I want you to test yourself and build this circle of fifths, starting of course with the scale of C major, building your scales, your major scales, building then your keys, your key signature. The more you do this, the quicker it becomes, and of course, the more you have memorized this. Practice this from time to time, because you need to be able to also see keys on sight, see key signatures on sight, and know the key. All right? Whew, that was a cool and easy 2 lessons, 2 videos, and you got everything that you need for this module. So what I now want you to do is to go into the module and do some of the worksheets to help you out. And of course, if you're ready, go ahead and take that exam. And for those of you who are doing a blended class, you can do the same thing. All right? Thanks so much. Until the next module.